Hello, hello, hello. Yay. I got the tech right. Yay, yay, yay. I've only been doing this. I think this is my 14th summit appearance. Ah, I'm so glad to be here with you. And I've got a great topic for you today because I am not a rinse and repeat. No, oh, no, no, no. You have to go and look at my YouTube channel for the previous ones. Absolutely. I always bring you new, fresh, detailed, wonderful, if I may say so myself, because the other groups that get to see this as well, oh, I get so much great feedback. And I'm hoping to be able to bring you a very relevant topic today. It's because there are so many women that are coming into my office recently and just sitting down with tears in their eyes and wondering, will I ever be loved again? Or will I ever love again? This hits us hard. It does, because we are in a position of such vulnerability. Our hearts have been ripped out of our chest, whether that is through just a declaration of, I want a divorce, or it's a slow burn that has led to it, or it has been I've met someone else. I'm into somebody else. Whatever it might be, there's a tearing apart of your relationship. So much so that you are here within this particular group looking for guidance, looking for support, looking for understanding of what the next steps are. Absolutely. And this is a great group to participate in because there are so many. Yeah, there are so many hurting souls. And there are a lot of group experts that can help you, that can guide you through what you are feeling, what you are going through. Take advantage of it. Utilize it. Ask your questions. And absolutely, when you connect with one of the group experts or one of the moderators or the admin, because they've all been vetted sources for guidance, engage with them one-on-one. Get the answers to the questions that are pertinent to you, that just feel like you are the only one that is going through the experience. Because I can tell you this, we've gone through the experience in some manner, shape, or form, and we each have expertise to be able to share with you. Take advantage of it. Absolutely take advantage of it. Between the workshops that are offered and the one-on-ones and the books and everything else, you have a world of resources in front of you. But here's the caveat. You got to implement it. All this knowledge that you take in from all these variety of sources means nothing unless you actually take it in and utilize it. Utilize it. It reminds me, diets, okay? Everyone knows that they need to eat better. They do. They do. They know that if they eat better, they'll feel better, they'll sleep better, they'll fit into their clothes better. They know all of this stuff. They do, but they just don't implement it for a variety of reasons. And sometimes it's too hard. I get that. I totally get that. As someone who was on a perpetual diet for decades, oh yeah, no, I get that. I totally get that. But what helps is when we actually jump into something that feels right, that somebody says something and just like that, it clicks for you. And you're like, yes, that I can do, that I like, and let me implement that. Let me try it. Let me do it. Like Yoda says, there is no try, there's do. You do it. You see what happens for you. You get that accountability. And if I could be so bold, you start to trust yourself. Yes, you start to trust yourself. Because right now, in the space that you're in, you don't trust anybody around you. You don't, because you trusted your relationship. You did. You thought it was rock solid when you stood there in front of friends and family, in front of the person that married you, and you vowed to be together forever. And suddenly that story, that and why do they call it fairy tales? That fairy tale disintegrated, snapped the fingers, and it turned to dust, and you're just left standing there wondering, what just happened? What just happened? And the first thing that happens to you is you start not to trust yourself. I missed the red flags. I didn't see this coming. Even if it was a slow burn, I thought that we could get over the speed bump, because in my practice and what I share with my clients is that relationships have ups and downs, ebbs and flows. That dip where it goes down, we need to know whether it's a speed bump, whether it's a stop sign, or whether it's a brick wall. Exactly. So here you are, just not trusting anything or anyone. I get it. I totally get it. Very much so. And what it starts with is learning to trust yourself. Well, how do you trust yourself? Because you've been beating yourself up, and probably you have a little bit of a nasty chick on your shoulder that's been beating you down and telling you all kinds of wretched things. If you're curious, I did an Oxford talk. I did an Oxford talk. I went to Oxford University and I spoke about a wicked inner critic. I had one. Yeah, she was wicked. She was beating me down every single day. And in that Oxford talk, and you can find it on YouTube, it's got over 300,000 views already. And that brings me such a sense of pride and a sense of sadness, actually, because it resonated with so many people, because people do have a wicked inner critic. And the wicked inner critic is relentless, especially during a crisis. It'll beat you down and it'll tell you all kinds of wretched things that, you know what, they're just not true. They're not true, but you start to believe them because that voice is just always there. It's just always there. And in some twisted way, it starts to feel comfortable. I know we don't want that. We don't want that for you. So, how do you trust yourself again? There's a couple of techniques that I want to share with you so that you have them. It's the same techniques I share with my clients here in my office. And we try them on, we see how they fit, and okay, yeah, I could do this. Let me try this for a while. Because let me tell you something. Just because you buy the most expensive pair of running shoes does not mean you're going to be able to run a marathon tomorrow if you've never run before. It's just not going to happen. It's not. We have to train incremental, step by step by step by step. Can you do it? Of course you can. I'm telling you, of course you can. So the first technique that I want to share with you, I'm going to share, let me share 3 techniques with you. The first technique to learn to trust yourself is to make a commitment to yourself. Just one thing, not this grandiose gesture. Oh, no. Just one thing. Let's pick something simple, okay? I'm going to say it's simple. It was really hard for me, but it might be simple for you. It depends on how chained you are to your devices. First thing to do, first thing in the morning, I am not going to look at my phone. I am not going to look at my phone. Anything that's on my phone can wait a half hour. Let me get up, let me get dressed, let me go into the bathroom, so forth and so on. And when I am pouring my morning hot beverage, that's when I'll look at my phone. Make that commitment to yourself. Stick to it. And then that helps you learn to trust yourself again. Because you made a commitment to yourself. Because that's what trust is. In a nutshell, it's a commitment that's made. Absolutely. A commitment that's made. So that's one example of how to rebuild trust in yourself. Now, how to start trusting someone else or trusting someone new. because yeah, here we are, we might be dating again and exploring different opportunities. um, we have to learn to pause. Pause? What do you mean pause? Yeah, pause. Notice the things around you. hmm hmm Notice the things around you. Be present in the present moment. Try not to be chained to the past, and try not to future catastrophize things. Okay, we don't know what the future is going to hold. So we can't make a blanket statement, I'll never be loved again. Come on. You know that deep down inside, that's not true. That's not true. You have so much love to give, but now you're cautious, and rightfully so. And that's absolutely fine. This, your heart, you don't want to just hand it over to somebody else. You don't want to repeat those patterns. Of course not. You're here to get guidance, to be soothed, to feel again. And when I say feel again, I'm not talking about the rage and the sorrow and the sadness, because those are just exploding out of you. I get it, rightfully so. But we want to get to a point where we can actually smile, where we can have joy, where we can have happiness in our lives again. And it's challenging. It's not for the weak, but you're not weak. I know that. You're strong. How do I know that? You're here. You're here. That's 50% of the battle, is showing up, being present, asking for help, searching out the different things that, okay, yeah, I could try that. I could do that. Absolutely. But you need to try it and do it, because in theory, it all sounds great. But unless you implement it, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. One of the things that I can share with you, that I also share with my clients, is that when you give up, when you let go just a little bit, you'll get a little happiness. You will. If you let go of a lot, you'll get a lot of happiness. You will. It'll pour into your life. But if you let go completely of the angst and the rage and the anger that you have, you will be free. Free. Oh, and free is so glorious. It absolutely is. And you're probably thinking to yourself, Vanessa, come on. I'm in so much pain. How can you say that? I can say that because I have been helping couples. I have been helping individuals since 2017 in their relationships. And you might say, well, wait a second, we're separated, so we don't quite have a relationship. Okay, you might not be co-parenting. Okay, you might be completely separate. But I can tell you this, you still have a relationship. You have a relationship with yourself. And that relationship you have with yourself is the most important, most important relationship to have. Hands down. Absolutely hands down. Because when you love yourself, when you can look in the mirror, when you can look in the mirror and find a quality about you that you absolutely love, it's beautiful. And I know that you have one, because you are absolutely beautiful. You are. We all are. And we are as unique as our fingerprint. Yes, you are unique in your beauty. You just have to discover it again, because again, you've been beaten down. You have been beaten down. And it's time to stand up. It's time for a lot of us to adjust our crowns, or adjust our way of being, to stand up straight, to throw our shoulders back, to breathe. Oh, it's so important to breathe. I know what you're thinking. Really? Come on. That's going to cure everything? When you can breathe, when you can pause, yes, pause, when you can respond rather than react, when you can notice what's going on around you and see it objectively, not subjectively, not put that judgment into play, but just see it for what it actually is. Remember when I said if you let go completely, you will be free? Yes, yes, you will. You absolutely will. Okay, so those are the three things to rebuild trust. Remember what they were? Mm-hmm. One, commitment to yourself, to pause and to breathe. Yeah, to breathe, to give yourself that grace to breathe. You want a technique? Mm-hmm. We're going to take a nice deep breath in and release. That's it. And I know you're thinking, oh my God, really? Okay. Here's the caveat. Every single time you look at your phone, you're going to do that. Every single time you pick up your phone before you open Facebook or any of the socials or your email or your text messages or whatever app you are using, you are going to take a deep breath and let it out because Vanessa said so. I'm telling you, by the end of the day, you will have at least 40, yes, 40 deep breaths. Every time you take a deep breath, it recalibrates your ecosystem that you have here. It reconnects everything. It gives everything a moment. Mm-hmm. So those are the three things. Now, we're going to move into something else, okay? Because again, we are talking about, will I ever, ever be loved again? Or, will I ever be loved again? Will I ever, ever be loved again? Or, will I ever love again? And those can feel so hurtful and so painful, and we can drown in that sorrow. We can. But I don't want you to. I absolutely don't want you to. So let's talk a little bit about boundary scripts to protect your peace, to protect you while you're dating or while you're co-parenting. Because when you're hurting, it's really hard to set up boundaries that stick. We're good in our anger to say, "Oh, no, 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 no. No. That's not going to happen." Okay? Because sometimes we don't have the clarity to think through the entire situation. So we want to establish boundaries. And those boundaries are as unique as you are. Absolutely. I could give you a whole list of boundaries and you, no, that doesn't apply to me. That's not applicable to my situation. I get that. So these boundaries you have to develop. Yes, you do. You need to develop. And if you're struggling with them, get yourself a coach. Get yourself a coach. Yeah, I have a coach. I actually have 3 different coaches for 3 different scenarios, 3 different things. I speak. I speak on stage. I speak on Zoom. I speak in my office. I needed a speech coach to help me articulate my thoughts, to be able to convey the most important things in a cohesive way so that not only would people hear it, but they would implement it. That was the key, because that's what I was finding that most others are missing. They'll give you all this great wisdom, but they won't encourage you to actually step into it and start using it so that you can see the abundance of what's around you and what you are capable of and what's going to come your way. So, yes, if you need help setting boundaries, get yourself a coach. Absolutely get yourself a coach. Talk to your coach about here's my unique situation. Here's what I want. How do I articulate it enough and set a boundary? Because the boundary is not for the other person, the boundary is for you. What are you going to do when the boundary is crossed? It's your action when that boundary is crossed. So I'm going to give you an example. I had a client come into my office and she had gone through a divorce and was really struggling. And they 6 months, 6 months since the divorce papers had happened. And we were working on a variety of things. And she casually mentioned, just casually, that her ex had come over last night and brought a date with him. And I was a little perplexed. I try not to have judgment on things, but I found this very weird because of the circumstances by which we had spoken about a variety of other things. And I said, "Oh, you invited your ex and his affair partner to your house for like dinner?" And she's like, "Oh no, 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 no. He just stopped by, you know." And I said, Okay." And she goes, "Well, yeah, he has a key." He has a key. She goes, "Yeah, he has a key." And she was so nonchalant about it. And I said, "Why does he have a key?" And she thought about it for a while and she goes, I don't have an answer for that. And I said, "You know that you can change the locks on the house. It's your house. You went through a contentious divorce. And one of the stipulations was that you get the house. It's your house. How dare he come with the affair partner?" And and she was speechless. She needed permission from someone, permission to change the locks. And then she wanted to run through the scenario. Well, what happens when the next time he wants to come over and the locks are changed? And I'm like, it's your house. You have to announce that you're coming. You have to announce the purpose of your visit. If you're coming to see the kids or pick up the kids, okay, that's absolutely fine. But this walking into the house as if you own it, no, 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 no. No, that's definitely a boundary. That's definitely a boundary. But that gives you an example. That gives you an example. So if there's something going on that's a bone of contention that's happening, please think about the boundary, think about the script to kind of go with that boundary, implement it, stick to it. Because when you stick to it, there's a caveat that happens. You start to trust yourself again. Yes, you start to trust yourself again. And you can do that. And I know you can do that. The next thing we're going to talk about is the green flags to look for and the yellow flags and the red flags. Yeah. And sometimes those red flags you're going to need to walk away from. Okay? Because in most times, and again, here in my office, most times those red flags, they're seen. They're just ignored. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's okay. Oh, he got a text in the middle of the night. He said it was work. Okay. But when those red flags, they start to stack, okay, yeah, that becomes an issue. It absolutely becomes an issue. So you already know a lot of red flags. You do. You already know them. So we don't have to go over them. Now, sometimes we have yellow flags. Those are things that we find ourselves in a pattern, meaning you have someone new in your life and that person does something that's very similar to what your previous partner did. Now, we want to make sure that our ex is not part of our next, okay? Not quite a red flag, but a yellow flag, like just a little caution, just a little caution. And when that happens, I invite you to slow down, okay? That's why it's a yellow flag. We slow it down. We take that deep breath, we recalibrate, we see what we are supposed to see. We scan the whole area, we look at it closely. We pause and we slow it down so that we can see it crystal clear, so that we can have the clarity to it. Okay? We don't make assumptions based on the previous experience and say, well, they did this because of this. No, no, no. You don't know that because this is a new person. So, again, you want to see it for what it is, who it is, and subsequently how it makes you feel. Okay? Then we have green flags. Now, green flags, you want to be careful that that's not love bombing flags, okay? Because it feels so good, that initial intoxication, when we make that connection with somebody and we think, oh, this is the possibility. I actually will be loved again and I'll get to love again. And we succumb to all those intoxicating feelings because it feels so good. It does. But I want you to be careful with the love bombing because it's true. And who you're dealing with, who you're with, they might have the same thing. They might have the same feelings of, will I ever be loved again? Will I ever love again? And they drink the same wine and they get intoxicated. So it's this blending of two souls that are yearning for that love. They do. But at the same time, they might be one might be a little bit more cautious than the other. Slow it down. Just slow it down. It's okay. It's okay if you met them on the second date, they're inviting you to go somewhere and you're like, oh, hold on. Like, yeah, no, let's do a couple of more dates before we like go away. Because going away presents its own set of challenges. It does. And I wrote about this. I write for medium.com, which is a publication similar to Huffington Post and so forth. I have over 100 articles that are published. Most recently, somebody who I highly respect reached out to me and said, wow, you really know your stuff. You're writing like great articles, because I had written a 2-part series about traveling. In this particular case, it was traveling after betrayal. But a lot of the points that I make within the article talks about the expectations that we have when we go away, because we're in a different setting. We're not quite familiar with everything. Maybe the person that's bringing us there already has lay of the land and knows what it's like, and you're at a disadvantage because you've never been there, but you're excited because you got invited, and the intoxication and so forth and so on. It's so much expectation. It's so much expectation. And unfortunately, when we build up all that expectation, it can lead to disappointment. I don't want that for you. So if we could just slow it down, it's absolutely fine. And if your partner, gets upset over it, that might be a red flag, and you have to judge that, whether that's a yellow flag or a red flag for you. But in that particular case, slow down, drag out the intoxication, drag out the butterflies, because sometimes that's what happens in marriages. It's the initial intoxication of finding your person. It's the initial intoxication of the dating and having those butterflies in your stomach, and then popping the question, and then planning the wedding, and then the wedding day. And a lot of people tend to think that the hard work is over. I've snagged the person, got married, got the ring on the finger, the marriage license is signed, the ink is wet, blah, 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 and whatnot. And they don't realize that the work is just starting. It truly is. Because year after year after year, you're growing and changing and evolving, and your relationship is ebbing and flowing as it should. And then it gets those speed bumps. It does. Every single marriage does. And you'll hear people say, oh, I've never seen them fight. I've never seen this. I've never seen that. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors. You don't. And unfortunately, we live in a society now that everything is picture perfect. Everything is picture perfect. You know, oh, and the filters and this, and we have such a perfect life, and we have such a great life, and this and that. And no, no, no. Look at the celebrities, okay? I purposely never ever comment on any of the celebrities. Never, never mentioned anything about the Coldplay incident. Never mentioned about Jackman or now Nicole Kidman. No, no, absolutely not. I don't do it. And it's my principles. It's also that, I sign NDAs all the time. All the time. I've worked with high-end clients. Absolutely. I respect their privacy. Just because they're a public figure doesn't mean that their anguish and the destruction of their marriage is fodder for everyone else. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I went off on a tangent. I apologize. So we were looking at red flags, green flags, and yellow flags. And I hope that that gives you some indication of you get to stand. You get to stand. And I know sometimes you just want to crawl into bed and you just want to sleep like Rip Van Winkle and wake up and have it be 80 years later. You haven't changed at all, but the world has changed, hopefully in a positive way, and you get to start over. Well, let me tell you this. You don't have to wait 80 years. You don't have to sleep 80 years to start over. You don't. You get to start over. And this time, you get to control it. Yes, you absolutely do. And it's going to be rough. I'm not going to lie to you. Of course, it's going to be rough. But I know that you can do this. I know that you can. Because I have women come into this office self-described as completely falling apart. Like they are a mess. They cannot focus. They cannot sleep. They cannot eat. That their lives have been destroyed in an instant. And it's not just women. It's men. I have men coming in here shell-shocked. Shell-shocked. They cannot believe that their spouse cheated on them. They cannot believe that their spouse wants a divorce. They're paralyzed. They do not know what to do next. I get it. I understand it. I do. I absolutely do. And that's why I work with both women and men and couples and teams. Yeah, teams. Because this spills over into our work environment. It does. Even when we keep things close to the chest, it's always on the mind and we become distracted by it. So, yes, I work with teams on that as well. Absolutely. See, deep breath, deep breath, because this is hard work. It is. It is hard work. But we pause. We pause. Remember I told you that I had 3 different coaches? Yeah, I have a speech coach and I have 2 other coaches. My speech coach really helped me pause. And it was funny when she said it because I was like, wait a second. My other coaches advised that as well. It is a very common suggestion. It is. But again, suggestions are great. All this wisdom and knowledge to grab a hold of is great if you implement it. So I'm suggesting that you implement these things and get an accountability buddy, somebody that's going to hold you to it, that's going to remind you, hey, you made a commitment to yourself that you were going to do X, Y, and or Z. Okay? Did you do that today? Have you done this today? And it's not to nag. Please don't misunderstand it. It's not to nag. It is something that you are doing for yourself. For yourself, because I'm going to let you in on a secret. You are the most important person. You are the most important person. Then it's your kids. Yes, I'm not forgetting kids, okay? But it's you. It's you. They say put on the mask first and then help everyone else. That's true. That's absolutely true. You are the most important thing. So focus on you. Get this ecosystem in order. That means hydrating. That means eating well. That means sleeping. Yes, sleeping. And I know you're thinking, oh my God, if I could only sleep. I can't sleep. I'm so stressed out. I get it. I'm not asking for grandiose. I'm not. Start with something small. Start with when I pull into the driveway, before I open the door, before I, turn off the car and open the door right away, between that action, I'm not going to just take one deep breath. I'm going to take two deep breaths and close my eyes for just a moment to resettle and visualize myself resettling before I walk into my house, into the perceived chaos or the chaos of my house. I'm going to give myself those few moments. Okay? The shower. Okay? You jump in, you jump out. Okay? Give it a few extra moments. Few extra moments. Okay? Sometimes I was guilty of this. I was. When I read the shampoo bottle and said, shampoo, rinse, and then do it again, I'm like, wow, that's a waste of shampoo. Now I do it. Not because of the shampoo, but it gives me more time in the shower. It absolutely does. Yeah, every once in a while I run out of hot water. Okay. But I get to be in there for a little bit longer because I have allowed myself, I gave myself permission to be there. And for me, water is very soothing. That's my soothing space, is flowing water. Might be yours. Dirt might be yours. Dirt. What are you talking about? Gardening. Why do you think gardening is so popular? Because digging in the dirt, digging into the dirt. Why do you think that fire pits are so popular these days? Something about a controlled fire, that just to sit and hear the crackling and see the variety of color and see the specks float. Okay? Sometimes it's better than television. I'll let you in on that secret too. But water, earth, fire, air. If we're going to talk about everything, when you walk anywhere and you feel that breeze, pause. Feel it just for the moment. Just feel it. That's the air moving. It's the air flowing. So give that some thought. All righty. While we have limited time left, how to stop the mental replay that you've got going on, okay, without ignoring your truth. So how to stop the mental replay. You are probably replaying the movie of your entire relationship from the moment you met to the moment those divorce papers are being signed or have been signed, whatever it might be, the unraveling of your relationship. Now, when we replay that movie, okay, there are usually two ways we do it. The first way is that we romanticize it. It's so much better than it was. So much better. We see it all because it allows us to feel the pain so viscerally and so much more because we've romanticized the relationship. We make it so much bigger than it was. The second thing we do is the exact opposite. It's so much worse than it was. And we paint it in such a way that justifies our anger and why we are so upset. And again, it feeds into the theme of today, which is, will I ever be loved again, or will I ever love again? Now, those scenarios feed into that narrative. I'm going to let you in on another secret, okay? The book of your life. The book, I want you to visualize the book of your life, okay? You are not at the end. No, you are not, okay? You're halfway through. You are, okay? This is all the chapters before. Then you get to a pivotal moment, the catastrophe. In movies and playwright, it's the pinnacle moment, that happens. That's where you're at now. Absolutely. This is the horrific thing that has happened. All the rest of the pages, they're all blank. They are all blank. That's the future. It's not written. You control the narrative. You control it. You get to write it. You get to decide what's going to come next. And that's why I encourage you, write down some goals. Absolutely write down some goals. If I could be so bold, one of the things that helped me when I went through my catastrophe, the devastation of my partner's betrayal, was something called the 6-phase meditation. Okay, 6-phase meditation. I had the honor and privilege of actually training under the gentleman who developed this. And I told him that during this time, I took the 6-phase meditation and I changed the wording to reflect me and my situation. Okay, because it's good in and of itself, without a doubt. But for me, I needed a healing edition. I needed it to be very specific to healing because I needed the healing. And he gave me his blessing. He did. He said, if that's what needs to happen, that's what needs to happen. And I was so grateful for that, that so much so that I trained, as I mentioned, with him to be an instructor. So I am an instructor of the 6-phase meditation. In addition, I went into the studio, yes, studio with headphones and a microphone, loved the experience. And I recorded the 6-phase meditation, the healing edition. And I have that available for you. It's absolutely for you. You download it, have it on your phone, whatever device you want to use it. First thing in the morning, in the afternoon, if you have those less than 20 minutes, or as you drift off to sleep. Okay? It is my voice. So if you're fine with my voice, great. It does have background music, so forth and so on. But it is so powerful. I am letting you know it is so, so powerful. And one of the 6 phase is to forward think, to think about your life in the next 3 years, and to dream and to plan. And you'd be surprised that those things that you thought of, sometimes they're so far-fetched. They're ridiculously far-fetched. And you think to yourself, yeah, no, that'll never happen. I can tell you this, those that I share the 6-phase meditation with, they've come back to me. They have. That they've practiced it consistently, and something that they thought was completely outlandish has in fact happened. Because if we set the tone for that, if we set our own expectation of ourselves, we can move mountains. We absolutely can. So I invite you to do it. For me, it was writing a book. I never ever thought that I would write a book about my experience. No. But during the 6-phase meditation for me, years and years ago, I saw myself signing a book as if I was the author. And I thought that was that was completely bizarre. The other thing that I saw myself was speaking in front of other people, because I had this crippling insecurity about speaking to more than 2 people at a time. You put me in front of a boardroom where I have to stand up in a PowerPoint presentation and whatnot, and I was one of those terrible speakers that would actually turn around and read the PowerPoint presentation to everyone as if no one else could read. But I didn't do it for that purpose. I did it so I didn't have to look at the 8 people around the board table. Yeah, I was a terrible presenter. I knew it, and I hid from it until I got a coach that really helped me push past those insecurities that I had. And of course, once my husband's betrayal came to play and my inner critic from hibernation came out in full force, every single one of my insecurities came flooding in, absolutely flooding in. And I had to learn the techniques that I'm sharing with you. So I'm sharing the wisdom with you so that you have it. The last thing I want to cover is a quick reset for your nervous system so that decisions that you make become crystal clear. Crystal clear. Now, I've touched on it throughout this whole thing. You'll see how these 5 things all interplay with each other. So, as a reminder, what are they? It's how to trust yourself again. How to trust yourself again. Boundaries and scripts to protect yourself. Green flags, yellow flags, and red flags. how to stop the mental replay that's going on so that you can finish the book of your life. You narrate the story. And then the final one is a quick reset. Reset your nervous system so that decisions become crystal clear. And that's where the 6-phase meditation flows in. It is powerful. I'm letting you know it is so powerful. So absolutely reach out to me. It's yours. You have it. Please enjoy it. Please comment on it. I have gotten the most beautiful reviews on it, which I am so grateful. I have clients that have been using it not just only days, weeks, months, but I do have a client that's been using it for over a year daily because they see the impact that it has. They see the revelations that they have. They see how important it is to reset themselves so that they can be a better person, not for everybody else, but for themselves, so that they can look in the mirror and see themselves and allow themselves to enjoy their own uniqueness and their beauty that they have, so that they can be a better person, not only for themselves, which is most important, but for others, for humanity, for another partner. Because I will tell you this, I know that you might be feeling, I'll never love again. I never want to go through this pain again. Love isn't pain. Love isn't pain. Love is such a glorious thing, especially in the early moments of it, the early intoxication. So I invite you to stretch that out, slow it down, pause into it. And I know that a lot of people talk about, oh, time is so fleeting and you only have this moment and so forth and so on. But I want you to think of it as not rushing it, but love yourself. Absolutely love yourself. You are so unique and so valuable and so important and so beautiful. You absolutely are. So I invite you to take that really deep breath, that really, really deep breath. We're going to go over the 5 things one more time because I want to make sure that you're writing them down. And the ones that hit you, that just, yes, I want you to implement them. I want you to implement it right away. And if you need an accountability buddy, by all means, reach out to me. If you need a coach, reach out to me as well. We don't drag it on for months and years. No. It's what you need. It's where you are at the exact moment. I have clients that are one and done and then come back a couple of months later for something else. I have clients that come and see me for 4 sessions. I have clients that see me for 12 sessions. I have clients that have seen me for over a year. It all depends on what's going on for them, what they need. I'm not cookie cutter. I am not. I don't have a program that is regiment that says, okay, this week we're going to do this, and this week we're going to do that, and this is how it's going to be, and you have to follow this. No. It's not how I operate. I didn't like it. I absolutely didn't like it when I was searching for help. And that's why, for me personally, one-on-one was exactly where I needed to be. Plus, I needed the flexibility that I walk into my coach's office and say, okay, this is what we need to work on today. And they're ready to go. They're absolutely ready to go. They don't need time to prep or any of that other kind of stuff because they're good at their craft. They can ebb and flow whichever way their clients need to be. I invite that for you. Unless, of course, you like structure and you want definitive things every single time. And again, that's the beauty of coaching, is that you have that opportunity to be able to work with different people. As I said, I have 3 coaches. You have 3 coaches? Yes, because each coach is definitive in exactly what I need. I couldn't find somebody that did this and this and this and this and this and this and this. No, it's too diluted. I needed expertise in specific areas to help me. So I invite that for you. Find the help that you need. If you need to understand your financial situation, what's going to happen, how are you going to do this, budgeting, so forth and so on, you get that type of coach who handles a financial coach, a financial expert that can help you guide you through exactly what you need. Now, if you need a coach to, again, reset your relationship with yourself, you look for a coach that is a relationship reset expert who gives you that guidance related to your specific circumstance. If you need a divorce coach to help you with all the paperwork and all of the nuances and to understand exactly what's happening, you get a divorce coach and you look for that as well. And again, you try them all out. You try out the coach, you see, you look at their profile and platform and Google and Facebook and all of that other thing. You make sure that you do your own vetting, that you recognize that they're certified, that they know what they're talking about, that they have years of training, not this weekend course certification stuff. No. You want somebody that's going to help you, that is several steps ahead of you, not right next to you and learning as they go. No, you want that expertise. So make sure that you get that. This group, great for that. Group experts and as I mentioned, the admin and the moderators, of course myself, I'm here for you as well. So what I leave you with, okay, because I always like to leave you with something tangible, something for you, is, as I mentioned, the 6-phase meditation. By all means, reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to send that to you. I'll send you the link for the YouTube link for it. My only caveat with YouTube is I don't control the ads. So some people have commented that right in the middle of it, YouTube pops in an ad. I also have it for you audio. The audio has absolutely no ads in it whatsoever, not at the start, not in the middle, not at the end. It is completely clean. It is professionally recorded, and it is for you. The second thing I want to leave you with is a great book. It is called The Places That Scare You. All right. This book, this is a clean copy because I purchased it for one of my clients. My copy, which of course is on my nightstand, I've reread 3 times. 3 times, yes, because each time I read it, I gain something else. My favorite all-time quote from this book, I want to share with you. But this book, The Places That Scare You, I wrote an article about it on medium.com as well, about its importance in my life and my recovery. The Places That Scare You, the quote that I absolutely love is, you are the sky. The rest is the weather. You are the sky. The rest is the weather. There's a lot of other beautiful quotes from this book as well. It is only, I think it's less than 100 pages, little more than 100 pages, but it's very inspiring. It's absolutely very inspiring. So please consider that book. Throw it in your Kindle or on Amazon. I'll drop the link for it so that you can get right to it as well. And then, of course, if you're dealing with betrayal as part of your divorce, dealing with the devastation of your partner's betrayal is my book, which I am very proud of, that also has gotten great feedback on it as well. So here we are at the end of our time together. I want to thank you so much for being here, and please stay the rest of the day. There's summits going, there's speakers for this summit going on all day long. So lots of variety of topics for you so that you have it. And again, it's great taking in all this wisdom, but just like a sponge gets oversaturated, and then what needs to happen? It needs to be wrung out so that you can use it. All right. So please use some of the techniques that you learned today. Hopefully something has just like that snapped for you, and you're like, yes, that I'm going to do. And reach out to me. Let me know if any of the techniques resonated with you, you implemented them, and what has happened for you moving forward. I am in the group. I am a moderator. You're more than welcome to reach out to me with any specific questions that you have. And I want to thank you so much for being here with me today. I appreciate it. And of course, if you want to see any of the other summit speeches that I have done, again, I'm not a rinse and repeat. They are on my YouTube channel. It is Vanessa-Cardenas over on YouTube. I'll drop the link in there as well. I wish you a glorious rest of your day. Remember, thank you again.